This market was well organized, profitable, and honestly, just a really fun experience. But I probably won't be booking it again. Now, I know that probably sounds really confusing, but today I want to talk to you about which markets are worth repeating and why doing well at a market isn't necessarily the same thing as it being a good fit. So I'm going to show you footage from my market. This is one I did back in November before the holidays, and I'm going to take you through my day. Then I'm going to share with you some insights from this market and how I decide which markets to book in the future. I know it's January, so this is the time of year when we're all thinking about what events we want to do, how we want to run our business, and I'm going to give you my strategies when I'm thinking about how to plan out my year for my small business. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Happy Saturday! We have a market today. We're going to the Syracuse State Fairgrounds for a wine and chocolate festival. Basically, there's going to be a whole bunch of wineries. In case you're not familiar with upstate New York, we're basically like a little mini wine region. So there's going to be all kinds of wineries at the festival. Chocolate, which who doesn't love a good chocolate fountain? And then some handmade vendors like me. So we're going to have some artisans there too, because honestly, you need something to do between sips. Anyway, I'm really excited for it. Basically, it starts at 1 p.m., but we're going to get there early to set up because I think it's going to be a busy load-in, load-out situation. I think we're all going to kind of be competing for getting all of our stuff into the space. It's a huge building. I've filmed here before for other festivals, and generally you can drive in. It can get crowded pretty quickly with vehicles driving into this building. So we're getting there early, which is also good because we had a snowstorm yesterday. Mild snowstorm here for upstate New York. We got only like 4 inches at my house, but there were places that got up to 18. Luckily, it's just stopped. The sun has come out. The sun is now in my eyes. But yeah, roads are still a little bit slick, a little bit snow covered. They're working on it. Mostly they're wet. Snowplows have been out for all yesterday and all overnight. So we're getting there, but we're going to go set up, and this one should be kind of an interesting setup because they're giving us an 8-foot table, which I know it's only like 2 feet longer than a 6-foot table, but it always throws me off a little bit. So we've done it before. We did the Wine and Chocolate Festival in Utica, but we haven't done the Syracuse one. And I hear that the Syracuse one is really, really good. At least the wineries say that they like nearly sell out every year. I don't know if the stormy weather will impact because the storm's done now, but people still have to like shovel out, dig out. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they come take a break from shoveling and come have some wine with us. That's the goal. I'll keep you posted. I'm going to show you our setup. But yeah, I'm going to keep you posted throughout the day. So let's head on out. festival's starting. It's a little loud. They've got a pianist, a musician here. But yeah, we're gonna get going. People are starting to do all their tastings and their sippings, so we'll see how it goes. We're kind of in the back corner, but I think we have enough like wineries around us, and there's the wine check where people can like buy their bottles and then go check them so that they don't have to carry them around all day. So I think it's gonna be a good spot for busyness. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. The vendor next to us said that this is the best show in Syracuse, but they're also a winery, so I don't know if it's just good for wineries or if it's gonna be good for handmade too. I don't know. I'll keep you posted. So we are almost to our first break. Basically what that means is we're at a wine tasting show. So I don't think they want people drinking for 6 hours straight. So they have like group 1 that comes from like 1 to 4, or you can buy your ticket for the second session, which is from 5 to 8. So it's almost 4 o'clock. So people are kind of like wrapping up last minute purchases. This first session was pretty good. Like we did well. I think if you have food or wine, you probably do a little bit better than crafts, but you know what? Happy to be out of my studio and checking it out. So we're gonna do a little snack break, rest up a little between sessions because basically this place empties out over the next hour, and then everything's gonna pick up again at 5 o'clock. So long day, but we're here for it. It's officially the break between sessions, and I just grabbed a peppermint mocha from Edgemere Coffee. It is so good. I needed something warm because while I usually bring like water and like liquid death like iced tea, we are right next to the overhead garage door, and it's where everyone drives in for like loading in, loading out. And it was open for like the entire load-in period, which is a couple hours. I mean, to the point where like I'm wearing gloves and a coat. It was freezing. So I'm kind of chilled. So now I have warm coffee. I asked for it to be decaf though because it is 4 o'clock and I will be up all night if this is full caffeinated, but it's a peppermint mocha and it's very pepperminty and it's delicious. So we're gonna hang out here and rest for probably 45 minutes before they let in round 2. 7 o'clock, we have 1 more hour left in the second session. It is so much slower than it has been. I'm so tired. I'm so ready to go home. Yeah, we'll see. People might be like doing their tastings and then coming back around. So I'm going to keep hopeful. We'll see. But be sure to stay tuned to the very end because I'm going to share our top sellers from this festival and maybe a few insights and tips on how this market went overall. Okay, that was a fun event. I know I was pretty tired by the end. It was a long day, but let's talk a little bit about this specific event. This was a food and wine festival, which meant that there were a lot of food vendors, a lot of beverage vendors there. Overall, it was just super fun atmosphere. It was heavily attended, which was amazing. What's really great about this event was it was a one-day event. So if you do a lot of markets, you know that some events are a single day, just a couple hours, and other events are a whole weekend, which is a lot of time and energy spent. This one was a single day market. I would consider the booth fee for this event to be in a medium price point category. If I were to assign like category levels, medium price point. This event looked amazing on paper because the fee wasn't super duper high. It is well attended. I know people love going to this event. In fact, if I don't work this event next year, I want to go to this event. It looked like an amazing time, seriously. It was well organized. The event coordinators had a great map set out. It was an easy load in and load out system, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's one I'm going to want to book again next year. So let's talk about what worked well. We sold about 5.5 times our booth fee, which isn't bad, but it's also not my instant like, yep, this is a must-do event every year. A lot of our usual best sellers, we sold a lot of earrings and necklaces. There were a few people there that really appreciated like handmade items or handcrafted items, but honestly, most of the customers that came to our booth were either a little bit tipsy from the tastings and just were having a good time with their friends and made impromptu purchases. We also sold a lot of mama sweatshirts. One of my mama sweatshirts that I sold, a customer came to this event specifically to find me. Just a little reminder to share the dates of your events and where you're going to be so that people who do want to shop with you can find you. And I sold some bags, a lot of our cosmetic bags, especially our dog prints, but also a tote bag. I think the tote bag sold less because they thought it was pretty or awesome and more because they just literally needed a tote bag for this event to carry their food and beverages they were purchasing. That was the vibe that I got anyway. They cared a lot less about what the bag looked like. They just wanted something that would work for them. Overall, the customers at this event were looking for food, they were looking for wine, and they were not necessarily looking for giftables or artwork. They were foodies, which I'm totally here for, and not necessarily in the mindset to be shopping for gifts or artwork. So revenue reality check here. 5.5 times your booth fee, especially for like a medium entering into a higher level price point market. That's not bad, because the higher the price point of the market, the harder it is to make up, 5, 10, 15 times your booth fee, right? Those lower level markets, it's easier to hit those like multipliers. So I would say that 5.5 times the booth fee is a win. However, revenue isn't the only currency being exchanged at a market like this. We got to think about how much energy and the effort being put in when we go and set up at a market. Setting up at a market, I'm sure a ton of you know, is a huge undertaking. We are setting up a shoppable space, a small shop for a single day or for a weekend. I know by the end of this market, I was exhausted. So your energy output matters. There's value in that, even beyond the money currency that you're exchanging with your customers. Profit matters, but so does your time. Let's talk about all the really amazing parts of this show that have me like thinking, maybe it could be worth scheduling next year. For starters, it was super well organized. These organizers had maps. They were ready for us. They had a whole information area. So if I had questions, I could go to it and have someone to talk to. They were easy to find, easy to communicate with. Love that. It was well attended. There were a ton of people who showed up to this event. There was a really thoughtful layout. There was big aisleways, so it was easy for people to move around the space, and it was super easy load in, load out. We could drive directly into the building, unload all of our heavy furniture and displays, and then drive right back out again at the end of the night. I mean, we drove out again immediately after setting up and then drove back in. You get the idea. We had a great booth location. They really spread out the craft vendors kind of between the wine and the chocolate vendors. So, we weren't all just in a single little area all competing with each other. They kind of spaced us out, which was also nice, because if there was overflow from people waiting to do their wine tastings, they could come and kind of look in the booth a little bit. So that was kind of nice. We were also near the coat check where people were dropping off their heavy winter coats. And we were near the wine check where people were dropping off their heavy bottles of wine so they can continue shopping. And because people had to keep checking back to the wine check and going back for their coats at the end of the, at the beginning of the show and at the end of the show, we had a lot of good traffic flow. So that was definitely a positive in this event. The realities of why I might not book this show again. Probably not going to book this show again. To start, while there were a lot of attendees, they weren't necessarily there to shop for gifts and artwork. They were there as foodies. They were there to taste and to sip and have a great time. And more power to them. I want to attend this event next year just for funsies. But that doesn't necessarily mean from a business perspective that they're there to shop my products. So the audience might not have been an ideal audience for me to sell to. Shopping was definitely secondary. They were getting their sips, and if they had to kind of wait in line, then they were kind of looking into our booth space to maybe think about shopping. And while there were a few people that really appreciated artwork and I loved chit-chatting with them, it's nice when I can book events where I know that the handmade crowd, the people who love unique artwork, are going to be there. Those are my people. Those are the shows that I try to prioritize. So my takeaway from the show is, while the traffic was there were a lot of people, the people were not necessarily my ideal audience for making sales. And while it's fun to just go to shows, ultimately, if we're going to be spending the time, the booth fee, and the energy to be there, we want to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for success and making sure that our ideal audience is going to be there so we can optimize our sales during the time that we're there to sell. A great crowd doesn't always mean it's the right crowd. And just because it's not the right crowd for me doesn't mean it's not the right crowd for everyone else. The wine vendors, the food vendors, perfect crowd if you're selling foodie products. The crowd that I tend to target are people who like high-end unique jewelry or fiber art, or will appreciate my artwork on products like my dog patterns and my cat patterns and my unique watercolor artwork. So just keep in mind that just because my ideal audience wasn't necessarily there doesn't mean that your ideal audience won't necessarily be there. Ultimately, how do I factor in all of these pros? It was an amazing show with all of these limiting factors where I kind of hesitate about whether or not I'm going to book the show. What does that mean for me moving forward as I'm looking to schedule shows for the upcoming year? In the past, I've just bulk batch shows. We're trying them. Even as attendees, we're going to go visit them and see if we think that our audience is going to be there. Is it well attended? Does it feel organized? In the past, I've just booked shows just to get ourselves out there and see what's going to work. Well, now that I've had a couple of years of just trying shows, moving forward, I'm choosing select shows that are a good fit for me and my small business. I'm going to be prioritizing shows that are a good fit for me, and I encourage you to do the same. Just because we're selectively choosing our shows doesn't make it a bad show. It just means it might not be best fit for your time, your energy, and where you're going to be spending your money this upcoming year. My goals for 2026 and moving forward are going to be to select with intention. We're just going to be doing the shows that really have proven success with the Garden Girl Studio brand. I might try a couple new shows just to test them out if there's ones that look promising, but I'm going to be prioritizing the shows that we know will work because I want to put all that energy and all the time that it takes to set up and put it into other aspects of my business. I'm just going to be taking some of the time that we're not out at events, and I'm going to be using that toward building my online business as well. I am super excited about my Etsy shop starting to gain traction again. When I first set it up about 5 years ago, I really put no effort into it. So my shop really hasn't done anything for the past 5 years. Starting in about October, November of last year, I started putting more energy into my Etsy shop, and I'm starting to see a little bit more traffic and more traction, and that's really exciting for me. Now, there are some pros and cons to Etsy, and I can talk about that in another video. Ultimately, I'd love to see traffic directly to my website, but Etsy has traffic already. So, it's, to me, worth at least investigating to see if it's, an option moving forward. I'm just really excited to be, updating my shop either every month or every other month. We'll see I'm still working out the new flow because I'm so used to, okay, I have a market on this date. I'm going to be product prepping for that date. I'm going to have to be translating that into, okay, I'm going to have a product launch on my website or in my Etsy shop on this date. And the mental discipline to make sure that I'm getting those products on my website, getting those listings ready, and then, making sure that I'm marketing those my virtual events as opposed to in-person events. It's going to be a mindset shift. But I'm excited to be using my time that I was spending setting up a physical storefront and setting up all of my displays and using that time to update my website and to do more marketing for my Etsy shop and my e-commerce store. Now, if you want to hear a little bit more about how I've started reinvigorating my Etsy shop, basically through ads, uploads. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing my best. My Pinterest search engine strategy for marketing all of my products that are going into my storefront. How I'm taking the time that I was spending at markets and putting that into my e-commerce store. Let me know. I can do a whole video on it for you because I think it's an interesting, strategy. It doesn't mean I'm going to do one or the other. We're just experimenting a little bit more this year to see if we can find some balance that doesn't require me to leave the house every weekend to set up a storefront. So let me know what you want to see, what you want to hear from next. Of course, we have some cool events coming up like we did last year. So I'm going to continue doing these market updates because why not? They're fun. But right now is January. This is when I'm planning my year ahead. So there's not a ton of markets to be showing you, but I can share with you some of the strategies that I'm using to make sure that my business is successful in the year moving forward. And I'm more than happy to share. So let me know in the comments below what you want to hear, what you want to see next. I'm always happy to chit chat with you all. And if you have any tips for e-commerce or strategies that you want to share when you're thinking about what events to book, share them in the comments below. I love when everyone chips in and shares their tips because we all have, different outlooks and different takes on things, and it's worth, helping each other move and grow together. So share in the comments below. I totally want to hear from you. And until next time, friends, happy creating.